Hi everyone, Engineer Liu here. So on the last lecture we talked about pointers, and on this lecture I will talk about structs in C and how we can define our own data types. So this last tutorial was the 9th tutorial and this will be the 10th tutorial, and we start with example C. I already created a file. It doesn't have anything, so we start as always with our boilerplate stdio standard.io.h and our main file with no arguments whatsoever, and we return 0 as always. Okay, so how can we define our own data types? For that, C provides us with a keyword, the reserved word called struct. So let's create a struct for, let's say, a point in the two-dimensional plane, a Cartesian plane. So we have x and y coordinates, right? So we call this struct points, and then curly braces. For we define a point, so we can define a point, we need an x and y coordinates. So let's say declare them as float because we are dealing with real numbers. And then to declare a variable of type point, we say struct point p1, for example, and struct point p2. We can declare an array of also of points, but let's leave that for another moment. So we can assign a value like this: p1.x equals 0, p1.y equals 0, p2 x equals 1, and p2.y equals, I don't know, 2. Okay, so let's print these values. p1.x equals %d, p1.y equals %f, and then p1.x, p1.y, and then also for p2. I know this is getting a little bit cumbersome, but on the next lecture we take care of this by writing a function for doing this. Okay, new line here, new line, p2.x, p2.y, and we compile. Oops. Let's go, and no compile warnings whatsoever, and we run, and voila, everything runs fine. So we have p1.x, p1.y, p2.x, and p2.y. Okay, so this is basically it for structs. Now there are a few things, a few details you would need to know about structs. Like, for example, you notice that we have to write every single time when we want to declare a variable of type points, we have to write struct points, and the name of the variable is struct points, and this is a little bit cumbersome, a little bit it can get very cumbersome for working with big project, a big program. So for workaround with this, C provides us with another keyword called type def, which stands for type definition. So basically it would create an alias for struct. So we have a type def struct points that's taken on the score here, and we call this whole thing just points. Okay, so we can remove now this struct here, and everything will work the same, but you can see that the readability of the code is very much improved in this manner. So let's compile and run, and as you can see, everything runs fine. Okay, so how about a pointer to a struct? So points are a little bit tricky, remember from the last lecture, so let's try this. So let's make p1 a pointer. Okay, so let's make p1 assign p1 to point to the address of p2. Okay, and then we assign p2 and x and y. Okay, so actually we are assigning both variables. Okay, so now let's just print p1 if we did is actually making sense. And in C, when you are dealing with the pointer to struct, instead of using let's say want to access the x variable here, instead of using dot, we use this sort of arrow. You might have seen this in JavaScript and C++ if you have worked with it's basically what we use when we're dealing with pointer of a struct of our complex data type. So let's try this if everything runs fine, no warnings, and let's see if we don't get a segmentation fault, and voila, it worked. Okay, so here we are initializing our pointer. Okay, and here we are assigned p2. Remember, p1 is pointing to the address here of p2, and then when we print the values of p1, actually this is arrow here and arrow right here. When we are printing p1, actually we are accessing the reference of p2. Okay, so regarding point structs, this is basically it. We can create structs with structs using increasing our complexity and creating more complex data types. So let's say we want to create a struct for a triangle. So a triangle, we need 3 points, okay, to define it. So let's call it triangle, and we will define it with 3 points. So call point A, point B, and point C. Okay, and okay, so we'll just leave this here. We'll declare a triangle T, and then we assign t.a.x equals 0, t.a.y equals 0, t.a.b.x 1, and for C, let's say 3 here. I don't know. I'm hoping this makes sense in terms of geometry. If these are valid coordinates. So I think we got ourselves a triangle, and let's just print the first coordinates. X and Y. New line, and then t.a.x, t.a.y. Okay. So a triangle with 3 points, and let's just print the first compile, and what's going on here? Unknown type triangle. I think I made a typo. Oh yeah, I forgot to type here triangle. So type def struct, and we create an alias for our struct, and then compile, run, and here we go. Coordinates for the A point of our triangle, 0 and 0. Okay, so regarding structs, this is basically it. I hope you guys liked this tutorial. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment, and see you next time. Bye.